Recording. All right.
Welcome back to Defending Our Health. Today we have an episode with the founder of PainPodUSA.com, Tom Ivascanon. We're so glad to have him here. PainPod is also one of the sponsors of this show, and we're really excited to tell you guys about it because it's an incredible device that incorporates both TENS and EMS technology in order to help people get out of pain and have optimal wellness. So I'm joined here as well by Forrest Seeley. He's the Executive Director of Veterans for Child Rescue. And my name is Kim Kelly. Tom, welcome to Defending Our Health. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're excited to tell people about the technology behind your products and how it's helping people all around the world manage their pain and optimize their performance and recovery. And I will say, for those who are viewing us here, I have the PainPod here with me. It's an incredible device that I'm really loving myself, and I've shared it with quite a few friends, and they're loving it. It's incredible to see how people react to it and the immediate results. So let's talk about it. For someone who doesn't know what the PainPod is, how would you explain it to them?
Okay, many people have probably heard of the TENS technology, and again, many people do have them, and so basically that's what a pain pod is. But what we decided to do is make it better. And how did we make that better? TENS is great again for to block the pain signals, and that's about it. So in other words, no pain, no nothing, everything's great. However, you got to keep using it time after time. So by putting in EMS, electronic muscle stimulation, which is a separate device that people also can buy, and that actually helps to loosen up the muscles. And then, for example, let's do this. There's an injury. Your muscles tighten up. I don't know if you can see that. And there's no blood flow going in that area. So the EMS, by putting the pads on there, the EMS will actually loosen up those muscles. And by loosening up the muscles, you can see all the blood is starting to go to that damaged area. Well, so that's what the pain pod does. It actually loosens up the muscles so the body can do its natural work, and that is heal itself.
Oof, that's incredible. So I want to explain what EMS and TENS are for anyone who doesn't know. So TENS is an acronym for transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation. Transcutaneous means through the skin. So it's an electrical nerve stimulation that reaches your muscles, nerves, and soft tissues. EMS is electronic muscle stimulation. So what it essentially does is make your muscle contract and relax. But tell us about some of the other things it does that may not be obvious beyond muscle contraction. What else is it doing maybe to our circulation or nerves or other aspects of wellness?
Thanks for asking, Kim. Yes, it actually helps a lot with blood circulation. For example, here in Kona, I live next to a UFC fighter who flew out yesterday, and he was kind of worried about getting to Phoenix where he has to fight and whatever, and being a little bit kind of jet lagged or whatever. And so we did a little demonstration with the foot pads and the back belt, and I put that on him at my house, and he was starting to see how he was getting. It was also almost kind of setting off some endorphins, and it was blood circulation. So I seen his wife yesterday or last evening, and she was amazed. He called her and says, "You know what? I landed in Phoenix, and I've used the pain pod practically all the way, the foot pads and the belt." So he's going foot pads, belt, and he feels as good as gold. He doesn't feel like he was on a plane for 6.5 hours. So by circulating that, by having the pain pod on, it actually circulates your blood. It's kind of like having a circulating pump inside your body, and it really helps that.
I love that. Forrest, I know you're an avid user. Tell us about your experience with the pain pod.
Well, first I want to say, if you look at the mechanics of your blood flow, everything that we consume is becoming tainted over time. Our food supply, our water supply, it contains heavy metals. It contains different things that clog up your small little veins. And so and plus we're leading a sedentary life. Okay. So I understand this. A couple of years ago, there for a while, I was working in a lab and I was on my feet 5 to 7 miles in a 900 square foot lab. So I was circulating my body, and men and women for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, we spent a lot of time outside hunting, hoeing the fields, all those things to stay alive. But now we sit behind desks. So this is really important because now we have all of the physical problems from having a sedentary life. So Tom, we were talking about a couple of years ago, and I was talking about my lower back problems. I've played football in college. I've got injuries from that. Of course, all the other things that I've done that have injured my body. So I deal with chronic pain. And of course, he sent me a pain pod, and I do it on my legs, my feet, my lower back. And it's amazing me. I mean, I do it every single day. And it's really kind of strange, especially in my feet. I just recently, in like the last 6 months, started doing my feet. And it makes a huge difference. It helps me manage pain. And I use it as maintenance. I think sometimes people buy a TENS unit and they utilize it when they're in pain. And it really should be for maintenance all the time, because what's happening is right now, my feet, all the way up my ankles, they are vibrating at this super high frequency. So I'm getting blood flow. And this is important to me because what I've recently noticed in like the last year is I'm a runner and my feet aren't sweating as much anymore. And it's like weird to me. It's like, why am my feet not sweating? And so to me, that's an indicator that there's an issue. So I'm doing my feet a lot, hoping that it breaks down any material, that it gets the blood flow going, because I don't want to go a year or two from now and all of a sudden I have a major catastrophe with my feet, because I'm kind of grown fond of them. So my lower back pain, I tell you, I don't deal with it hardly as much anymore. And when I forget to do my lower back, it catches up to me. So I have gotten a high tolerance for this machine. And what's really strange too is there are some days I can turn it all the way up, and there are some days it's halfway up, and it's really strange to me. So your body is very sensitive to this unit. And the nice thing is it's so easy to use, and you have so many options on the device to select from, because there are some days there are maybe a setting, like the tapping setting, and it works really great. But some days my back doesn't like it. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to do tapping. I'm going to do something else. And the next day I can turn it up on tapping as high as it'll go. And it blows my mind because it should be hurting. I'm like, yeah, yesterday that really hurt. Today it's like no big deal. So I think this is important, that you should try the settings, and don't just try them one time. You want to try them multiple times, because I try to use as many of those settings as I can, and to make sure I'm getting all the frequencies that I can capitalize on. Because one of the things that, Kim, that I've noticed is your body makes adjustments. So if you are, for example, if all you do are bench presses, eventually you can't increase your bench press because your body is saying, hey, why are you doing this? So there are different things. If you change your regimen up, so I love this device, I can change my regimen up so it doesn't try to counteract what's happening to it.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. I can definitely attest to the fact that this is not just for when you're in pain. This is both preventative as well as proactive in terms of wellness. So today we're going to focus the conversation around pain management, pain relief, and how it helps with all kinds of joint discomfort and muscle tension and all kinds of aches and discomfort. But I just want the audience to know that it's also incredible for athletic performance and recovery. And I think we need a different segment dedicated to that, because it's incredible, like he said, blood circulation, for muscle relaxation, and it expedites the body's natural healing processes. So you can recover quicker from injuries or intense physical exertion like post-workout pain. And then to Forrest's point, I also have a desk job and I do stay active, but for those long days when I'm at my desk, not only is it very enjoyable to have this kind of pain management happening while you work, we're gonna demonstrate how it works here real quick, but it's not only very easy, you stick it on and you don't have to hold it there or keep it there, so you can go about your day being productive while you're having this incredible therapy. But it does definitely work your muscles. So for example, I had it on my tricep the other day and I was sitting down doing work for about an hour. And the next day I had like a post-workout soreness in my tricep. Nothing unreasonable, but as if I had done a whole tricep workout the day before. So it has a lot of benefits. Even if you're sedentary, you can get some incredible muscle activation with this device.
Just to piggyback on what Forrest said earlier about toxins and all that. That was a great point. And basically what actually happens when you've got the pain pod on you, now, for example, just sitting down now without the pain pod, there's about 5 liters per minute going through our heart. That's basically how the heart's pumping it. When you put the pain pod on, it goes to 12 liters of blood going through your heart. What does that mean? That means there's a lot more blood going through your liver. Now, your liver is the filter. It takes out those toxins that we breathe in every day, the foods that we eat and whatever. And then as the blood comes out of the liver, goes through your lungs. And as it goes through your lungs, the lungs are there to fill up the blood with oxygen and straight to the brain. That's why you feel a lot better. So you could be sitting down for 8 hours a day, but by putting a pain pod on, it actually will set off all those endorphins, but it's also detoxing your body. So it's not just like you guys said, just use it for pain. I mean, if you can just get into a habit of using this daily, and an hour or 2 or 3, whatever you can do, the more you use it, the better you will feel, especially if you're not moving or you're sitting down all day. So definitely yes.
That's absolutely right. I want to do a little pain pod demonstration here for those who are watching us. So this is the pain pod 3. And Tom, maybe you can talk about some of the different products that you guys have and the differences between them and what they do. But I want to show for those viewing, you press a button and it turns on, and you have about, 12 different modes of different styles of things you can do. And so I've been using this for a few weeks now, but if you had just gotten out of the box, you would turn it on. You put a little cord inside of it here, and then it comes with a variety of these sticky pads, which you simply apply to your skin. So ideally, you want to make sure your skin is clean and that you get a good stick there. I'm going to put 2 on my arm here. I'm going to talk through this for those listening on the radio, and I'm going to show people that are watching here live the way that not only it's so easy to use. I press 2 buttons and I can select the intensity. There's between 1 and 20. So as you see right now, I'm turning it up, and it's very relaxing. It's like little electrocute. You definitely feel the little electric vibrations, but it's not like being electrocuted. It's not like being shocked. So I'm only on a 5 out of 20 intensity, and I could turn it up if I wanted, and you would actually see more muscle contraction. So if you really want to test your resilience, I've had quite a few, men try to be tough and experiment on how intense they can take it, and they turn it all the way up to 20 and see who quits first and that kind of thing. I've actually filmed some of that. It's been funny. But I want people to see how easy it is to use. So I generally have it on a lower setting while I'm working. You can turn it up as needed. But what's so great is that, again, it's very customizable. It's a versatile therapy that you can use anytime, anywhere. It's very portable. The battery lasts for about 18 hours. Is that right?
Correct.
For a really long
Correct.
time. And it charges in about 15 minutes.
Yep.
So it's an incredible device, and you can use this pretty much anywhere on your body. Is that correct?
Correct. Exactly. Except the throat. Don't put it on your heart. There's just a couple things where common sense kicks in, and But what I was going to say, actually, regarding where you got the pads there. See, some of the athletes actually would put a pad at the beginning of the muscle and the other end of the muscle, and you can see it tweaking it. And it is exactly like you said earlier. It's like a mini workout. And when I've done 30 minutes of it, it's like, wow, you can feel, when you come out of the gym, you can feel that you've done something. So I'm not saying you replace the gym. Well, some people do, but that's what it does. It gives you a proper workout.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out too that this device supports 2 ports. So you could plug in the A port. You could be, for me, it's the lower back, and then the B port I put on my feet. Now I will tell you this, it's really strange. I can use turn on my feet and crank it up pretty high and then put it on my back. But when I combine the 2, there's a lot of more action going on in my body, and I have to turn the intensity down. It's really strange feeling. But the idea, when you say 18 hours, I've never ran the battery down on this thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I run it down and I will run it for days. I just automatically plug mine in and get it charged because I don't want to be without it. I didn't realize it took only 15 minutes to charge. That's amazing.
It charges very, very quickly. There's also, I want you to talk about some of the other products. I recently got the belt, and this is incredible to strap
Yay.
waist or your back or even larger areas like your
Kim,
thigh.
I don't know what belt you got, but mine's a little bit larger than that.
Oh, no.
Have there been changes in the products recently, Tom?
No, mate. I don't know what he's talking about.
I just got the mini female size. Well, there's a lot of products that you can use. There's a lot of different options. There's even one that heats up, and I've seen that actually is supposed to increase the effectiveness. I could see that being really helpful for people with joint pain and other issues that respond better to heating. So beyond athletic performance and accelerated muscle recovery and all these different incredible things that I think all of us care about. Hey, there you go, Forrest. When it comes to pain management, what is it that makes this so effective compared to other TENS devices?
Okay, it's not just a TENS device. It's actually better than the TENS device. And again, going back to that combination, was a simple thing where we combined two devices into one. And that's what makes a pain pod stand out above all the other TENS. Basically, that's what we say, it's better than TENS. And usually when we put the pain pod on people, we do a lot of military bases. And many of the military people there have got a TENS because the government's given it to them. And the words that come out of their mouths are like, this is unbelievable. Stronger, smoother, and they can feel the different frequencies coming through. So you'd have the TENS, and then all of a sudden it'll just go straight into EMS, and it'll go back to TENS again. And just a little side note on that as well. Some of the people who are listening to this might have obviously would have experienced where they do have a TENS device. They've used it for about 2, 3, 4 months, and they've put them down. And the reason I've put them down is because the device has stopped working. Well, no, the device is working. It's just that the brain has picked up the frequency that we're sending to it. So the whole idea is to trick the brain to close the pain gate without taking strong medication. And so with a combination of EMS and TENS, it constantly tricks the brain. So we've been in this business for 14 years, and we have people who've still got their devices. Yes, we might have replaced the battery or something like that, but they still use it. And every time you put it on, it works. So where it TENS, you've got to give it a rest after 3 months, give it a rest for a month or two, and then try and use it again. And then it'll actually be shorter. It'll be a month or so before the brain picks it up, and then it won't close the pain gate and the pain doesn't go away. And so that's the difference of a TENS versus a pain pod. It always will block those pain signals. You will get results within, some people within 10 minutes, others 15, 20 minutes, and they can see the difference.
Well, Tom, it sounds like the issue that I am experiencing is exactly what you're saying, because some days a setting works really great for me, and then the next day it doesn't. And there are settings that I kind of default because I like them. And when they're not working, then I'll trigger over to something else. So, oh, that's great. So that's an interesting, helps me kind of reconcile what's going on there. Because sometimes I'm like you were explaining with the other units, I'm thinking, is this unit, is it not working right? I'm checking, I'm looking at it and changing the port. But that explains a lot.
Mm-hmm. And Kim, if you went to mode 10, 11, or 12 with those pads on there, you will actually, so go down all the way down to 10, 11, or 12, the bottom three on the bottom three.
You're saying the mode?
The mode, change the modes, go to the bottom one.
The wave, I like to call it the atom and the volleyball.
Yeah, the atom. Yeah. Yep, that's perfect. Now crank that, and you will notice TENS will kick in first. You'll feel the TENS, and all of a sudden, after about a minute or so, it'll go straight into EMS automatically by itself. So you should feel a totally different sensation.
Yeah, it does feel different with every mode. And like you were saying, not only does it trick your brain, but certain modes, like Forrest was saying, feel different in different areas. So like you were saying, in my lower back, I can turn the intensity pretty much all the way up. There's certain areas that seem a little more sensitive, so I can customize it, which is really, really helpful.
Correct.
I did a lot of research about the microcurrents, and I think it's fascinating how not only does it intercept the pain signal or stop the pain signal to your brain so you feel less pain, but it also facilitates cellular rejuvenation. So
Correct.
it both the symptom and the underlying cause of the pain. And I love those root cause approaches, but I want to talk more about that because rejuvenating or healing your cells, that's incredible. It literally repairs tissue. So you promote it also for post-surgery, post-injury. Typically with massages, if you're an athlete and you sprain your ankle, you wouldn't always, or if you roll your ankle or, bust a hamstring or something, sometimes with massages, you don't want to massage that area right away. But with this type of device, if you have within reason a fresh injury, this would be helpful, particularly for athletes or for someone who wants to recover. Is that correct?
Spot on. And we have a doctor, Dr. Martin in Australia, and he's been a doctor for a high school football team. And what he does every time they have an injury, whatever it is, he'll put the microcurrent on them right away. And the reason behind it is basically to stop those cells from dying and get the new ones, going as well. So look, the sooner you catch it, the sooner you put the microcurrent on it, there's a really good chance that injury will never turn into a chronic injury. And so the microcurrent works on a totally different feel, as you said, cellular level, and you don't feel the current at all.
So,
not at all.
So Tom, I just want to make sure that our audience is clear on what you were just talking about. That on some settings, it's cycling. It'll go 1 minute or so under a tens frequency, and then you'll feel it switch, and then it will be under a microcurrent.
No, EMS. EMS. Mainly on that device. Yes, correct. Yes, we do have a little device, and it's called the M or My, and it's on our website. It's only about 1.5 inches by
That's
inch.
the patch-looking thing.
Correct. Yes, and it's got about a 6-inch wire. So what you normally do, you put that on the injury right away, and the first 15 minutes will be TENS. So what's the whole idea behind the TENS? Twofold. One is to block that pain from that injury that just happened, and after 15 minutes, it'll go straight into microcurrent, restoring those cells that are dying off. And the other reason, when I first tried the microcurrent, I couldn't feel a thing, and I didn't really believe that it was working because you can't feel nothing. You've just got the pads on there. So by having the TENS in there for the first 15 minutes, my brain knows that the device is working, and then it's satisfied. And after that, microcurrent kicks in. And we have, I might have mentioned this to you guys before, we have a lot of athletes, I won't name them, but a lot of athletes, and I'm talking about UFC fighters, world champions and all that, who use them and put them on their bodies to restore those cells that are kind of dying off through that little injury. So definitely, yes.
I could have used you about 20 years ago.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Where have you been?
So are these waveform frequencies proprietary or unique to you?
They are unique to us. Yes, we designed these. Matter of fact, in Australia at the university. And actually, I'll share a short story. When I first got the TENS and took them to Australia and got the exclusive for them, I couldn't figure out why, about 60% of the people were getting results, the other 40 weren't. And I was surprised. And that's when I took it to the professors, physios, you name them, all the people at the university. And they looked at the device, played with it for a while, come back to me and they says, Tom, this is old technology. This is from the 60s. Now, mind you, we're 2010, 11. And I said, we have something that works a lot better. And so we've got the latest frequencies in there that we are the only ones who do have them in the pain pod. And then with the combination, it was a winner. 97% of the people get results. There's only a small percentage who don't. And even that small percentage, if they use it long enough, they actually do get their pain. Let's say your pain is 7 out of 10. It'll go down to about a 3 or a 4. And what many of them said, listen, I am so happy with this. I can live with this. The other one just drives me nuts.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've seen that as well. I had a friend who has diabetes and who has a lot of numbness in his feet and toes use it. And he started on his shoulder because he had an injured shoulder and it really helped him. And he has a TENS device and he was talking about how much better and different this one is. But then when he was using it on his feet, at first he had a hard time feeling it because of the numbness. But
Correct.
then his nerves were either reconnecting or coming online because he started feeling the vibrations and the different sensations, not only in his feet, but in his lower legs and up his knees. Can you explain how that affects nerves in that situation?
Okay, so the foot pads that you should get any day now, and you've got them, you said, right, Forrest? You've got the foot pads there, you said?
Yeah, I've got mine every day. I use a foot
Yeah.
pad.
I never knew how painful diabetes is. Okay, I didn't know much about it, and it wasn't until a UK Diabetes Association called us in Australia and asked us if we can design something instead of just putting the pads on it, the sticky pads. If we can design something for the diabetes, and so we come out with a foot pad. And so what we found that all the people who basically use the foot pads who've got diabetes, it will eventually get that sensation. They'll start feeling, their feet, and because of the circulation, because they're getting the blood down there as well, and it works so much better. So the foot pads were really designed for people with diabetes. And in the beginning, they might not feel nothing. And some people will even say it's strange. They don't like it because there's so much pain on there. But if they can put up with it for about 5 minutes, they will actually start seeing the difference. And I think I shared a story with you guys about an older lady who was in the wheelchair and she couldn't walk because of the pain in her feet. And it was a hard time getting her on the foot pads. Finally, we succeeded. I had to sit on her knees almost to keep her feet on the pads. And you know what? She jumped out of that wheelchair. I don't mean jump. She popped out and started walking. Her daughter's husband, me, everyone else was looking at her, and she was walking without any pain. Wow. And needless to say, yeah, she was a happy camper. So was the daughter.
I bet that's an incredible healing and allowing the body to heal itself and reconnect with the nutrients it needs to perform. That's incredible. I want to also promote some of these products that I recently got. These are bio gloves. So they're literal gloves that you can put on and that have that same electrical magnetic stimulation. And there's also socks. So these are actual socks you can wear. They plug in the very same way. You literally slip them on, plug it in, and you can have incredible relief. And it's very, very comfortable and easy to use. I love the versatility of it. And then in talking about different health issues people struggle with, a big cause of a lot of different discomfort and disease and conditions is inflammation. Inflammation is at the root of a lot of things that end with itis. So for example, how does this help mitigate inflammation? And what do people need to know about the benefits of Pain Pod for inflammation?
Okay, so look, with inflammation, again, it will force all that fluid back up. A lot of people have a lot of bad inflammation down in their ankles and that. And what we find, if you're on the foot pads, and if you can do them for about an hour, you will actually get that going up to your glands, and naturally it comes out of your body. And you'd notice it again within the first 15, 20 minutes. Example, another lady who had, she just flew in from London to Australia, and her ankles are so huge. We put her on the pain pod, and I think she might have been there 20, 30 minutes. put her shoes back on. She walked away and came back and asked us to tie her shoelaces up. I said, "You don't have shoelaces. The shoes are falling off," because that all that fluid was, pushed out basically.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I've seen it help a lot of people with different types of pain issues, but I also know it's really helpful, even if you're not someone who, like me, thankfully, I don't have chronic pain. I really don't have intense health issues, and I'm so grateful for that. But even just the everyday aches and pains, or neck tension and things like that, even just because I sit a lot at my desk, I love it on my lower back, my upper shoulders, for example, and I definitely see and feel some results. So, Forrest, what are some other use cases you can think of beyond athletic performance for this type of device?
Well, I'll tell you, in my family, I'll give you a couple of examples. And Tom, I'm going to send one to my mom. My mother has been dealing with chronic pain all of her life. She had polio as a child. She's on her deathbed. She's got what's called post-polio syndrome. She's had some high impact injuries. She's fallen off of a ladder, and she uses these types of modalities in her life to maintain her health. And by all accounts, my mother should be dead now. And she just recently reached out to me and said, "Hey, I can't get my TENS unit working." And I said, "All right, Mom, I'll get you taken care of." But the thing about it is, what my mom taught me from an early age, and I'm learning a new layer of this from Kim, for example, because Kim has a lot of great knowledge, is that our bodies are machines. They're very finely, well-oiled, tuned machines if they're properly used. And if you look at when man first came to Earth, when our Creator put him there, we lived in a world where we had richer oxygen, we had richer soil, we were not sitting on our butts in front of computers. And so, because we've evolved, in my opinion, in the wrong way, and our food has devolved, and our water and our air, we have to offset that. So I'm finding that what's interesting is that I'm concerned about not just my generation, but the generations behind us. What are they going to look like at 50 years old, at 60 years old, 70 years old? They're going to be deteriorating faster because they've been consuming poor products from an earlier age. Okay. Kim, and I ate a lot like you did, Kim, when I was growing up. We didn't have any junk food in the house. We ate a lot of vegetables. And it was basically what my mom just said: "Hey, this is what we cooked. This is what you're going to eat." So we ate very healthy. We had no soda. It would be milk, tea, or water. Very rarely did we have soda. So I'm looking at some of the people that in my family that I've been introducing this to. My mother-in-law, who has a replaced hip, she actually has this really weird. It's not weird. She lost her big toe when she was a child on a bicycle, and so she sometimes she has pain in her foot and pain in her body. And recently, I plugged her into this device, and she's like, "Wow, this is wow." She enjoyed the experience, but she was feeling a lot better. Now, I didn't want to say anything at first. You kind of don't want to jinx it because people look at some of these devices and they go, "That's hooey." Well, it's not hooey. I've used many of TENS units, and now I'm trying to get my neighbors. I actually sent a post. There's a neighbors group on my phone. So I've been sending him the Pain Pod posts. And I keep saying, "Man, you can get a really good deal." And so I'm trying to talk some of my neighbors into this. So, folks, I think that if you take the time and look at the technology and look at what you're fighting, not everybody wants to go to the gym. Not everybody wants to give up their pleasures of fast food or sweets or whatever it is that they want to get. So you've got to evacuate these things out of your body. You've got to get your muscles and your structure and your core to do things that maybe you don't feel like doing. I think that if you start doing this, then at least you'll say, "All right, maybe I'll go outside on a pretty day and walk the dog. And maybe I'll walk him an extra lap instead of just one lap." And then if you do, and if when you're done, if you feel bad, I'd slap that unit back on and just kind of have a post treat, because to me, it's a treat. I really enjoy this. And I listen to my body, and I'm learning more from what you said today, Tom. I'm listening to my body because I'm trying to dial in. I deal with chronic pain, not as much as I used to. And so I'm looking for different things that can help me maintain this body, because I worry about when I'm 80 years old, when I'm 90 years old, that sort of thing. And I think we all need to be worried about that as well. So this is a great tool that you can utilize, put in your regimen. You can use it every day. I recommend that you use it every day. I use it every day. And I think it's really important because we need good blood flow. You need good breathing. You need good water intake. You do need exercise. You need to try to eat right. And so those things can, if you look at what's going on in society, we're fighting in a healthcare system. It's called a healthcare system, but it's really should be called because it's not a healthcare system in my mind.
Sick care.
Sick care. Thank you. Yeah, I was looking for that term. It baffles me, Tom. We all talk about this amongst ourselves. It baffles me. I can pay X amount of dollars. I can go get an MRI because I'm hurt, but I can't pay for a product like this with my insurance that would reduce the amount of money that I would have to spend. And there's the key, that I'd have to spend for sick care. And so we have been programmed into sick care. And what I'm telling and challenging our listeners is, let's get into the health care side of things.
I absolutely agree. I want to talk about some of the ways that this company gives back, because I think it's important for the public to understand who they're buying from and how they can make an impact when they're purchasing something for their personal use. But I also want to just back up what Forrest was saying about the different areas of health that it can impact. So for example, whether it's a chronic condition like arthritis or sciatica or headaches and migraines, there's a lot of different things it can benefit because it's targeting it not only at the symptom level, which is the pain or discomfort, but also at the root cause. So you feel it right away. Like, it's interesting because society loves the quick fix approach, which doesn't typically work so well. But in this case, you literally feel it right away. And whether you spend 5 or 15 minutes or a whole hour, you can generally feel an immediate difference. But there's also those long-term compound benefits. And that's an incredible thing. It's fast, it's non-invasive, there's no medication or addictive, symptoms or things like that. So I want to talk about just anyone who shouldn't use this for the sake of contraindications. Obviously, we're not doctors, we're not giving medical advice. But before we move on to the giving back section, who should not use this device, Tom?
Okay, look, people with pacemakers, epilepsy, and definitely if you're pregnant, but you can use it in the last trimester. Is that a trimester, correct? Mm-hmm. And that's what we do. A lot of the ladies back in Australia do actually use the pain pod for, delivering the baby as well, instead of getting, drugs and whatever in them. But that's mainly it. And you know what? If the people with a pacemaker talk to their doctors, because I do know, and I'm not saying do it, but I do know people who have got pacemakers and still use the pain pod, but get it cleared by your doctor first. I had someone about a month ago. They had something to do. I think it was an infibrillator, and they checked it out with the doctor, and the doctor says, "No, you're okay," and he's using it for his pain. So
that's awesome. If you have a pre-existing health condition or if you're pregnant, you should definitely consult your healthcare provider. But in general, they're very safe and effective for about 97% of people, like Tom said. So that's an incredible track record. Not a lot of opioids or over-the-counter medications can say that, that's for sure, especially without the negative side effects and interactions like we can expect from most drugs. So,
hey, Kim, it's funny, Brian, our guy up in North Carolina, our volunteer that we work with, he just had major back surgery and he was in such bad shape. And I just got off the phone with him over the weekend. It was Sunday, and we had a great conversation. And so he's ordering one. I told him about the promotion, which I'm sure you'll mention. But Tom, I can't wait to hear back from him, because here's a guy. He was in the military. He's a great volunteer for us. He's a very logical thinker. And what's funny is I hung up with him, and 5 minutes later he goes, "Don't forget to send me the link." I hadn't even had a chance to get him, because I was looking for the post that Kim did. I wanted to send that video post that she had done on Twitter. So I sent it over to him, And he says, I'm already on the site right now. He didn't even wait till I said it. He was already on your site looking at the thing. So I can't wait to hear that testimony. And it's somebody I think that, Craig's known him for a long time as well. That's how I met Brian, but I think it'll be a great testimony for you.
I love that.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I usually do a 30-day challenge. I tell the people who purchase a pain pod, some of them say, why is your pain pod more expensive than the TENS? Well, we've already explained all that. But the 30-day challenge is this: use it for 30 days. If you can do morning and evening, an hour in the morning, hour at night for 30 days, you watch the difference in your thinking, in how you feel, how you get out of bed, how you sleep at night. I mean, I could tell you all these things because people tell me this, but do it yourself, and you'll just use it all the time. All the time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's a great way. That's absolutely. Try it. You'll feel it. I believe you have a 90-day money back guarantee. Is that correct?
Correct. And look, we want people to make sure, because look, if it doesn't work in 90 days on somebody, sorry, if it doesn't work in 90 days for somebody, there's a good chance you're not getting anything. You kind of, you're in that little 3% gap. But yes, it's a 90-day money back guarantee. So really, you've got nothing to lose but your pain. If you want to get rid of your pain, get one. And how the 90 days works is you need to use it for the first 60 days. And then if you haven't got any results, return it between 60 and 90 days. We'll give you 100% of your money back. No restocking fees or anything like that. You've just got to ship it back to us. So we don't want you to waste your money on something that's not going to help you.
Yeah, definitely.
If I remember correctly, Tom, you had pointed out that you rarely, if not ever, gotten one returned.
That is correct. And, we've had people where they say it doesn't work on me, so I've given it to grandma, grandpa, mother, brother, sister. And so, no, we don't get returns.
Whew, that's an incredible testament.
Mm-hmm.
So we also have a special offer for the listeners, and I want to tell them about what your company is doing to give back to humanity and to help the children and our mission with Veterans for Child Rescue. So Tom has been a board member. I believe you were the first board member. Is that correct, on Veterans for Child Rescue?
That is correct. Yes, Craig gave me a call while I was in Australia and basically told me the story. I said, sign me up. And he's like, well, slow down, cowboy. You need to know what you're getting into. And he explained it. I'm like, okay, but sign me up.
It's funny, yeah. Tom, when you say that, when he called me up, I originally was a board member, and I'm not the last board member. I was the second last board member. But he's like, are you sitting down? I want to have this really serious conversation with you. And he's going on and on. I'm like, sign me up. He's like, well, do you need a day to think about it? No.
Yeah. That's what he was saying. He was like, you got kids, who's going to come after you. I said, well, that's okay. My God is bigger than most of these people out there, all of these people. So yeah, I was the very first one. And I remember the journey. Matter of fact, Craig and I just talked about it last week, and reminiscing. And that's how we ended up sponsoring Sniper Fest. And it all took off from there. There's so many different SWAT teams, Navy SEALs, Marines, you name it. I mean, there's some people out at this Sniper Fest that it was unbelievable. Most of them had the paint pods on, and I'm telling you, they were just getting amazing results out of it. So we had a great weekend with these guys.
That's amazing.
It's funny because Craig could have just said to me, hey, we're going to go do some scary stuff, and I need you with me. You can't ask any questions. I'm like, yeah, I'm going. Because Craig saw me at Sawyer. I grew up with him. He was a SEAL Team 6 sniper. I knew him as the knucklehead that I grew up with in church, and we've hunted, fished, motorcycled, you name it. We've done a lot of things together. So I trust him. And this is, Veterans for Child Rescue in the making of Contraland, the movie, was his mission. And I knew, and I've known since day one, it was the right thing to do. And we appreciate the support that Pain Pod and you as a board member, because Tom, you offer me counsel, you know, as a board member on our team. And so I'm very grateful for that. And I think it's important that people know what our mission is about, and that the team members that we have, we are very selective with the team members, very selective with our board members. And look, I will tell you this about many of us. We're not like me at myself. I don't consider myself a superstar, but I am willing. You know, we're all willing to fight for what we think is right. And we look at Kim. Kim, let me tell you, she looks like a young, beautiful lady that
She is.
She is a warrior.
Yeah.
She is a warrior. So, you know, if we're running up the hill, you know, at the enemy, she's going to be right there with us. And that's our mentality. So because of that, and because we work so hard, this is a great product to endorse. It's a great product for us to use. It's really funny when we're all together working. We'll be sitting in the living room. Kim will have a doodad out. She's working on her leg. I'll be stretching. And Craig will be working on his aches and pains. And we're all just looking at each other going, yeah, this is needed. So
we're big on performance, because when we can perform at our best, we can help more people. And that's really what this show is about. It's about helping people heal themselves and reconnect with that inner power, which gives us more fortitude to not only fight the battles we have to face every day, but do more to help others and give back. So Tom and the Pain Pod Company is an incredible example of that. They've helped a lot of people, a lot of causes all around the world, including helping children who have been trafficked overseas, as well as our mission here in the US. So they offered a special discount for our listeners. So if you use the discount code V4CR, that's V, the number 4CR, you get $200 off a Pain Pod 3, which is this one, or a Pain Pod 4. So Tom, we want to thank you for doing that. Definitely want to encourage the viewers and listeners to utilize that discount, because it's an incredible offer, and this will last you a lifetime of pain relief and optimal performance.
And folks, I want to point out, I've had my unit over 2 years. I use it every day, and the thing looks like it's still brand new. I mean, the design, it's a beautiful design. The casing on it, it doesn't look wimpy. And I have a friend that sells these units. I haven't talked to him in years, but he sells all these Chinese made products. And when you get them, they look rinky dinky. This thing is very solid, very beautifully made, very beautifully engineered and designed. And the fact that I'm always clacking on these buttons all the time, every day, optimal performance. The only time I've ever questioned the device, which Tom has explained to me, because sometimes I'm like, I've got it on full charge, I'm not feeling it. Well, he's talking about how your brain is working. So now that kind of helps me understand it's not the device, it's the, you know, this machine here. So again, I'm amazed on how much use I've got. I can tell you this, I've had phones that would wear out with the amount of use I've put on this thing, and this thing still looks brand new.
It definitely lasts a very long time. So in addition to helping people manage their pain, I know you guys are really passionate about specifically helping service members. So those are our veterans, our frontline response, like law enforcement, firefighters, etc. I want to encourage everybody, especially if you're a public servant. First of all, we respect and appreciate your service and your sacrifice and everything you do for our communities. And we're all very passionate about not only helping those people feel their best and deal with their mental and physical obstacles, but finding natural, effective ways to help them with those mental and physical obstacles that don't involve drugs or surgery or invasive procedures, and something that's reliable anytime, anywhere. All of us have busy, hectic schedules. So this is literally something that, like you see, I have it on my arm here. You can stick it on and walk around with, or you can use literally anytime, anywhere. You can travel with it, etc. So, Tom, can you share with us some of those incredible stories I've heard about military bases and service members who have been helped by this?
Sure. We first started off in Honolulu at one of the military bases, and there was a whole bunch of people coming back from Iraq, Afghanistan, younger people, you know, mid-20s. and they were using their canes to walk, and their knees were really kind of shot out, and because they were jumping out of planes with 60, 70 pounds on their back. And so we'd sit them down, put the pads on their knees, and within, again, 10, 15, 20 minutes, some of them took a little longer, they actually started walking freely. They couldn't feel any pain. And so it helps their lower back as well. We've done many military bases. In fact, we still do Fort Hood probably every couple of months. The last one I did was Nellis Air Force Base. A lot of the pilots from all over the world come to Las Vegas and train. And, since they get kind of thrown around a little bit, they just love the pain pod. It's, again, I don't know how many times I can say this. It just excites me I just sit there, talk story with them and look at their faces, and they're looking at each other like, is this really happening? I'm like, and they can actually feel that pain going away. And wow, yeah, there is a few stories. I mean, I can go on and on. In fact, I will. There was a gentleman that it was, what is it, PTSD?
PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Correct. Yes. And he walked in, and you could see something wasn't right with the guy. And so I just chatted with him, and he just come back from Afghanistan. So I set him down, and he's jumpy and, and all that stuff. His whole body was aching. So I put the paint pot on him, and we were just chatting. He could have been there for an hour. I don't know. But I was so interested in the stories he was telling me. And when the device finished, he just looked at me. He's like, you know what? I'm like, what? He says, I don't feel any pain whatsoever. So you don't have to tell me that to make me feel good. He says, no, seriously. He says, I want one. Then his wife comes swung by. What are you doing sitting down here? Let's go and whatever. No, you don't need one of those things. But, and so anyway, she just dragged him off. And I was like, oh, and I realized he had no money. I mean, they'll obviously go paycheck to paycheck. So I went out and snuck the device, gave him a device, because, I mean, my heart went out to him. And he couldn't believe that someone would, give him something. And she was against it. And I says, just stop it, And then she started telling me stories. He drives me nuts. He hides in the closet with his guns and all that. And he, at nighttime, he's walking around the house. He's scaring the kids and scaring everybody. And I said, but look what the paint pod's done for him. It's calmed his mind down. His pain's gone away. And seriously, he wasn't jolting every time someone pushed a shopping cart against the wall or whatever. He'd look, and he knew what was going on. So I believe it really helped him with his mind. And so, yeah.
Tom, can I point something out about that? And what people don't realize is I dealt with chronic pain. I had neck surgery, I think 22 years ago, if I do my math right. I had my four number 5 and 6 discs was being compressed, and I was in so much pain. But what had happened is my injury from playing football had built up over time, and I'd get a crick in my neck, and it would hurt, and it would hurt. But what people don't realize is when you have chronic pain, for example, if you have an injury, you could take some medicine, you can rub it. There are things that you can do and get temporary relief. But when you get chronic pain, your body gets to the point, no matter what you apply, you can't get any relief. And it's not so bad. Like 10 seconds of that pain is nothing, but hours upon hours, it is an emotional nightmare. Okay. And many of us understand this. And so the reason that people turn to doing crazy things and they start doing crazy things is they're looking for some sort of solution. I mean, there have been stories about people hacking off body limbs and doing other horrible things to themselves because they're in chronic pain. And so that means that the amount of pain that you have accumulated is greater than what the harm you might do to yourself. And that's a hard thing for people to get their minds around, especially when you're witnessing this. And so I challenge anybody, if you have chronic pain, if you're not sure after that 30, 60, or 90-day challenge, ask the people around you how has anything changed, and they'll notice it. You may not notice it from within, but somebody around you might notice this. Okay. And eventually, if you do that, because I find if you gave me a 30-day challenge, I'm not necessarily going to do it 30 days. I might tell you I did it 30 days, and it may take me longer to get the benefit. But I'm the type of person that's very skeptical about stuff like this, about a lot of things. And so any of those people that, if you're skeptical, you got to have a little bit of discipline and give it a try, and try it on different body parts. Try it where you have your pain. Try the intensities. Try the settings, and try to do it as much as Tom is mentioning. And I can tell you this: if you're sitting in front of a TV, you can just put this thing on and fire it up. It is a no-brainer. If you're gaming on your computer, you could fire it up. If you don't like that and you read books, put it on and fire it up. If you're sitting in front of your computer working, fire it up. I can tell you that I carry this thing in my pocket because I work from home, and I will tell you, a couple of times I've stood up and the pain pod goes flying because I forgot about it. So I'm more cognizant of it. And again, some of the abuse I put it through, it still looks brand new. But yeah, I'll get up. I got to get some more water, or I've got the dogs are barking. That happens all the time. They want to go outside, so I grab my unit. So people think they're looking at me going, "Oh, you got earbuds?" Because I'll have the pain pod in my pocket, and like, no, that's my pain pod. And I, of course, I'm always upselling it. So I'm telling you,
with it as well. I was actually in a business meeting with someone yesterday in person, and they seemed a little bit uncomfortable, and I wasn't sure what was wrong. And then they kept sort of shifting, and they said, "Sorry, I'm just having really bad knee pain. My knee pain is flaring up." And I had a pain pod in my backpack, and I said, "Okay, look, there's this TENS device, totally off subject. Just try this." And I put the 2 sticky pads on their knee, and they were sitting there. And within maybe 10 or 15 minutes, I said, "Hey, how are you feeling?" And because we were talking right in the meantime, and he goes, "Oh," and it's like he didn't even realize it because we were discussing things that he's like, "Yeah, I don't feel my knee pain anymore." He was surprised, and I was, very pleasantly surprised, but not really shocked because I'm used to people having that kind of immediate result, which is incredible. So it's an amazing thing to give someone the gift of vitality and wellness, because like Forrest was saying, pain can rob so much energy and time and even joy sometimes from your life. So having the ability to help people not only get out of pain, but have the power to manage it at literally in the palm of their hand, it's an incredible thing. So Tom, we appreciate you, and we definitely look forward to more discussions like these. I'd love to bring on different athletes or maybe brand ambassadors that can talk about their experience with it, because especially for athletic performance, every bodybuilder needs this. I had another friend recently using it, and they were like, "Man, my veins are popping out now on their arms." It really does tone and activate the muscles. So,
Rhino, the day that he got his I sent Rhino one. Rhino works with Kim. He's an influencer, and the dude is just a beautiful specimen. He's a Samoan. He looks like a movie star. He looks like The Rock, and and I guarantee he's stronger than The Rock. I mean, this dude is wicked strong. He's such a nice dude. And I think the day before I said, "Have you got your package?" He says, "No." And the next day, "Just got the package. This thing rocks." And I was like, yes, somebody who understands.
He's Hawaiian Samoan, and he's also a U.S. Marine veteran. And so I love connecting service members with this kind of relief, because they deserve it more than anybody. They really, really deserve that mental and physical healing. So it's an honor to share that with the world. And Tom, we look forward to many more discussions, because there's a lot more we could unpack. But I just want to give you the floor for your final words or message before we end the segment today.
Well, actually, I was just going to go, if I can go back to what Forrest was saying about, the mental, heaviness that you have. What we found that many people who started using the device they didn't go out as much, and they were getting depressed. And I'm not saying this will fix your depression, but check this out. So by the pain going away, they would go outside the house and do activities, and obviously vitamin D and all that stuff. And we've seen them, because they order pads from us. They are changed in their minds. They're actually active, and that slight depression or heaviness, whatever they were experience in their mind is gone. So that's the other thing. It definitely will help you, get you moving, so you can start, feeling better. But anyway, what was the question? I'm sorry, the last parting words. I'm
Yes.
not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. Except look, try it. You've got really nothing to lose, and we're just working every day to try and get something better. We do have a device in the pipeline that is going to, hopefully, it's going to be a lot better. I'm not sure how much more you can improve on 97%, but we're constantly trying to have the best mousetrap, basically. So, yeah, we're investing our money back into, research and seeing what we can do. And there is a few other modes that we can add in there, which we're going to have hopefully in the next device. It should be called PainPod Ultra.
Oof.
Oh, wow. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I hope everybody tries this. It's incredible. So again, make sure to use the code V4CR on painpodusa.com. You'll get $200 off the PainPod 3 or the PainPod 4, which are these incredible devices that help you, and you will feel it immediately. So Tom, thank you again for being on, and Tom and Forrest, we will see you all again next time.
Thank you.